So I'm going to walk you through how to use StatCrunch in my stat lab to compute some things with the least squares regression line. So the first thing you want to do is click on this icon here and click Open in StatCrunch. It'll take a few seconds here. So now I'm going to come up here and click Stat and then go to Regression. And then we're going to click on Simple Linear since we're working with linear regression. And our x variable is going to be the x column. Our y variable will be the y column. You can kind of ignore all this here. And then the graphs, you just want to go and select anything you want. So we want the fitted line plot. So what that is the scatter plot with the least squares regression line on that. And then let's go ahead and select the residuals versus the x values. So I'm going to hit the control button on my keyboard, and while I'm holding that down, click with my mouse. So now if I scroll back up, you'll notice both of those are highlighted. And so that'll graph both of those things. So I have the residual plot and then the scatter plot with the least squares regression line on that. And then anything extra we want. So let's go ahead and just select residuals so you guys can see what will happen with that. So now that I have that, I'm just going to go ahead and click compute here. I'm going to expand this out here. So you'll see my residuals applied there. So these are the residuals for each of these x the y values there. So again, remember the residuals are the difference between the observed value and the predicted value. I'm going to expand this out here. So you'll notice at the top it says 1 of 3. So that means that there's 3 pages here. So you'll notice it tells you which one's your dependent variable and your independent variable. So you'll notice here that this isn't written in the form y equals mx plus b. This is written in the form y equals b plus mx. So that's a little bit different. It'll tell you your sample size, your correlation coefficient, and then your r squared value, so that your coefficient of determination. There, and then down here is your intercept and slope. So that's kind of the way it spits it out in the calculator. So notice those are the same values, so the negative 1.06 from above. So it may be easier to look down here to find those values. You can ignore all this other information. And then the other thing that you're going to look at is in this SS column and then the arrow. So that 56.4 is the sum of your squared residuals, so that's important. You can see that's a little bit easier to calculate than what's on the calculator. Now, if I press the over button, that's going to go through these pages. So you can see there's my scatter diagram with some points. So that's going to look a little bit different on my stat lab than this here. So you just want to pick the diagram that best matches to this. So you'll notice these values probably aren't equal to what you're going to have in my stat lab, but that's fine. Just map the one that the points correspond best to the line there. So continuing on here, here's my residual plot. Same idea here, to just find the picture that best corresponds to that. Now you'll notice about X sign of this, up at the top where it says StatCrunch, there's a 1. So if I click on StatCrunch, it says results 1 hidden. I can come over and click on this and it'll pull that menu back up and I can just scroll back through the pages. So that's what you need to know about linear regression for my stat lab and using StatCrunch.